Well, I'm here fishing at my local reservoir again. Today I was fishing for bluegills and the occasional trout or largemouth bass. I was set up in about 12 feet of water, and my first rod that I set up was a medium light rod with 4-pound test mono, a Lindy rattling flyer, tipped with a worm, and I work these spoons fairly aggressively so the rattles work and the spoon swings from side to side. There's a lot of bluegills in here that run between 8 and 10 inches long, and so often they hit these larger lures. This was the only bluegill I could coax on the rattling spoon, so I set up a dead stick. I like to drill a hole about 5 to 6 feet away, just close enough for easy access, but far enough away that if I catch a trout, it'll be less likely to tangle my other line. Now on the dead stick, I like to use a 4.5 foot ultralight rod with an inline reel and 6-pound mono. On this one today, I put an orange vertical jig tipped with a worm. Usually I set it up mainly for trout, but I'm not beyond catching a big bluegill or a bonus bass. Usually when you set up a dead stick, you keep your eyes on it. It didn't take long, but I was already getting bites. Check it out, every time I look over at the rod, it stops moving. Now on my other rod, I've switched to an ultralight rod with 3-pound mono, an inline reel, and a VMC pug bug and a maniac gizzy. Notice that I miss a lot of bites because I'm distracted between the two rods, so sometimes it's a problem having the extra dead stick. Now that's a nice gill. The fish are biting really great this morning. There's another bite. Oh, I got one on the other rod. There's another bite on the dead stick. Can't take care of it yet. Ooh, that's a nice gill. Oh, there's another bite. Another bite. Hold on. Get him. Got him. Now what do you do with the other fish? Alright, we'll put him back. Ah! That fish got away. It was a nice trout too. Okay, so here's my VMC pug bug with a gizzy bug on it. And there's another bite. Oh, yeah, okay, well I missed that one. Anyway, I like that plastic because I don't have to worry about putting bait on it. And I can just put it back down and keep fishing. And the plastic lasts a long time, and the fish, when they're active, really bite it well. I just have to figure out what color they want for the day. There's a nice fish tangled up in the transducer line. That little jig is small, but I've caught browns and rainbows up to 21 inches and nice largemouth bass on it too. So you just never know what you're going to pull up through the ice. Got another one. Oh, that's a nice bluegill, about 8.5, 9 inches. Now there's a puny one, probably around 6 inches. Oh, there's the dead stick going. I was watching that time. Got him. Oh, this is a nice trout. This is a good fish. Gotta make sure he doesn't break off. I'm only in that real shallow water, so gotta be very careful not to let the fish bump on the ice or anything while it's still hot. Let him play out. Use that rod to make sure that he stays under control. It's important to try to keep that line centered in the hole so he doesn't rub off, break the line or anything. Got him, got him, got him. That's a nice 20-inch rainbow. I'll just let him go. No, I'm not going to let him go. I'm going to keep this fish for dinner. And back on the bluegill. Kind of a puny one. That one's about a 6 or 7 incher. Got another one. Nice. That's about an 8-inch bluegill. After a little bit, the bite slowed down on the plastics, and so I decided to change over to a little tiny gold tungsten jig and put a little piece of Gulp Alive waxies on there. Oftentimes having that little bit of scent will help pick up the bite again. And it did. It didn't take long. Another nice bluegill. And there's that little teeny tungsten, but that little tiny hook, it's only about a size 20 hook. And so oftentimes it's kind of hard to get the fish hooked. Nope, there's my dead stick going off again. Sometimes if you miss the bite, if you just jiggle it a little bit, that'll bring the fish back like that. And there's the bluegill. Nice bonus bluegill, about 8.5 inches. Like I was saying, on this tungsten, sometimes it's hard to get the hook set because the hook is so small. Here I whiff about 6 in a row. Finally, I kind of slowed my hook set down and got one. There's another one. Ooh, that one's a nice one. That one's pushing into the 8.5, 9-inch range. That's about a 9-inch bluegill. For a lot of the day, the flasher had fish on it, but sometimes when it would go dead, that was so nice having it so that I could be ready when a fish did show up. There's one that just showed up, and that made me aware that a fish was ready to bite. So I was able to jiggle it just right to entice him. That was another nice, just about a 9-inch bluegill there too. There goes the dead stick again. Another bonus bluegill. That dead stick was producing pretty good today sometimes. Another nice big bluegill. You know, there's a lot of buzz going on these days about tungsten, and I like tungsten. I've got some tungsten jigs in my possession, and it works. Yes, it falls fast too, but it's simply just another tool that I use in addition to all the lead that I've got. Lead still works great. One thing that was nice about this little rod here, it's super ultra light and set up with 2-pound test line, which made it ideal for working that tiny little jig. Another nice sunfish. Hey, get back in there. After a while, I kind of got tired of struggling to make good hook sets with that little tungsten jig, so I decided to change over to a little jig I call a moon jig. It kind of looks like a crescent moon, and I tipped that with the Gulp Alive waxies as well. Another fish on the dead stick. Boy, most days I don't normally get that many fish on the dead stick, but this today proved to be a real good bonus fish day, catching quite a few on the dead stick. Another one on the dead stick. Another one on the dead stick. Can't hardly get set up without having another fish on the dead stick. Oh, almost had a double there. Not quite. Decent little fish. Boy, oh boy, another one on the dead stick. Can't concentrate on my active rod. There's one on my active rod. Well, that's a nice one. Now there's that moon jig that I was talking about. Well, I had another great day on the pond. Get out there and enjoy fishing Utah.